This movie scares me just as much as it excites me. It's a brand new era for Descendants. And what I've been seeing online is that there is a specific scene that is probably gonna make me cry, and I'm not prepared for it. I have watched no reviews. I've watched no other people's opinions. I wanted to walk into this as blind and have my opinion as pure as possible. And I'm a little late to the game because I was finishing up my Totally Spies 1 hour recap that's available on Patreon right now. And before I jump into this review, I have an announcement. We're moving again, 1 year after we just moved into this place. So my partner was in a active pew-pew situation. No one got hurt. She now has panic attacks in large crowds now. And the management at her old job sucked so bad. Oh my goodness, it was a crap show. So I told her, I don't care. Your work is so bad, I'll cover your rent while you find a new job. So I've been covering her rent for a few months now. And it's a lot harder than I thought it would be. Thus is why you see this new angle, because everything else is just boxes and then trash and like loose and paraphernalia. So if you want to help us out and probably help her pay for her therapy, her therapist is the one that told her, yeah, you probably have some PTSD. Either Patreon is always an obvious excuse. Merch that should be appearing below you. Below me, actually. That's also a very common, cool way to do it. Get yourself something nice. I hope my merch is nice. Oh yeah, she can't find a job. I live in Colorado. There's so many people that live here now. The job market is so saturated. She cannot find a job. So we're like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just go somewhere else. I'm used to Colorado. I've been here since first grade. It's boring now. What made me so excited about this movie is that they're incorporating elements of my favorite fairy tale, Alice in Wonderland, and I will be nitpicking and ripping in a new one if they get anything wrong because, well, I'm just that obsessive about Alice in Wonderland. This movie, I thought would heavily revolve around Uma, but actually it doesn't. I was pretty excited about Pirates too, because that's another hyperfixation of mine.
I've run a crew of cutthroats since I was 16. I think I can handle a few prep school kids.
Oh, it depends on what prep school. Some of these kids that come from money have less empathy than the fiercest pirates. I'm speaking from experience. Actually, she may want to recruit some of them. Look, real footage of me decorating our apartment. So Uma is placed in charge of the school and she says, you know who isn't here? Wonderland folk. And they very quickly say, haha, no. And she said, haha, yes.
We saw the goodness in each other. They gave all villains a second chance. It's time Wonderland got one too.
Are you sure?
It's what Carlos would have wanted. So don't do it for me. Do it in honor of him.
What? No, my eyes are just sweating. I'm fine. Your eyes just get really moist living in a semi-desert climate like Colorado. You know whose tears I believe are genuine? China's. That performance was way too organic. Oh man, that came out the gate swinging. That was needed. That was needed for everyone. Yeah, that was good. Thank you for doing that. They send a letter to Princess Red telling her that she's been invited to the school. I love how they made the Queen of Hearts a complete like fascist dystopia. That's a good interpretation. And her daughter, the princess, is actually the rebel that's sort of fighting back. I mean, she does some vandalism, which is always encouraged in oppressive regimes. And this is the first song we get to hear. I'm changing my Okay, I'm changing my rating system for the songs. Usually I do the ABC F scale. No. Now it's, does it go on my iPod or my Spotify playlist according to you guys? I don't use Spotify. I don't use subscription services. It's just slightly lacking, but I like it enough to where it's going on my playlist. And Red gets gently dropped into her room by her friend, the Mad Hatter's kid, Maddox. So you're saying, the daughter of the Queen of Hearts is a rebel? I mean, I can't help but make the comparison to Ever After High. You know, sue me.
She just wants to turn me into the next evil queen like her. And I don't want to be queen.
You mean like being in charge of your destiny? So Maddox made a time machine. Yeah, we're doing time travel. I'm shaking in my boots. Time travel in kids media usually doesn't go too well. The idea is that they can go into the past and stop the evil queen from being Evil, I should say, the Queen of Hearts, because the Evil Queen is actually a different character. Oh, the hug. Oh, you're a fool. That's how they always pick your pockets. Doctor Who always told me never to trust a hug, and now there's timey-wimey shenanigans. Maddox keeps telling her, whoa, be careful, you could lose your mom entirely. And it's like, your mom is a tyrannical fascist ruler. Who cares? Either she's better or she's gone. Either way, things will be better. It's not the preferable outcome, but it's a very welcome change nonetheless. Also, Cinderella's daughter Chloe is here.
I'm charming. That's debatable.
Second song, So This Is Love. Great performance, honestly. Do I like it more than the original? Not really. Not going on my iPod. Not bad, though. They gift Chloe the ugliest pair of shoes you can imagine.
Empress of Wonderland, the Queen of Hearts!
Wouldn't you be Empress of Hearts? I don't think you can be Queen and Empress at the same time. One kind of overshadows the other. Personally, costume design is pretty good. Everything except for Chloe's shoes. Other than that, I think the costume designers did a solid job. You can tell they got a hand double for the cardistry. Oh, that was almost smooth. You almost got me. They finally get that letter about Red attending school. I see you changed your hair while you changed your shoes. Brownie points for the license plate. Nice touch. They waste no time getting to school. Oh my goodness, another song! It'd be awesome if I could actually play a clip. Love Ain't It is actually a bop, going straight to my iPod. And these guys made it not as much of a bop.
You know who we are.
Bridget.
Oh my goodness, Bridget, like playing bridge? That's so good. Round of applause for that one. I thought you did good with the license plate. Bridget, cherry on top right there.
Hi, I'm Chloe Charming. I'll introduce you to the Jabberwocky, a monster that eats annoying girls.
That was out of character, but it was in front of her mom. I'm guessing that was just an act, I'm hoping maybe. We get a soft rap that explains the Queen's relationship, and I'm partial to rap, so yeah, this brought Love Ain't It back to a bop. It's giving Nicki Minaj. Ignore everything that Nicki Minaj is doing. The Queen tries to give Red the looking glass, which in this world can see the future, I guess, and it shows Red becoming the evil queen her mom wants her to be. We get a reprise of What's My Name? This song was already on my playlist. Already great. They made it a different great. Evil queens are evil? Color me surprised. Time for a hostile takeover.
No.
They do a lot of alluding to the Queen of Hearts' tragic and mysterious past. Her origin story is that she was turned into a monster at her first dance as a prank. Now she's a tyrannical ruler hell-bent on domination. Tell this to those prank channels. This is what happens. She may be a bad bitch, but she's still bad. Red chooses her mom's side and says Cinderella is guilty of treason, not even really being her choice because she's an emotionally abused kid. This is basically duress. Immediately regretting her decision, Red chooses to go back in time along with Chloe because it makes the story spicier.
Well, we need to go back and save my mom.
No, the watch sent us to this time for a reason.
How do you know? This is the first time you've used it. Maybe you're just bad at time travel. That's some real fairy tale logic right there. They're really jam-packing this with music. Goodness. A pop song with some auto-tune that's generically good. I guess it goes onto my iPod. There's a rap breakdown. They're really leaning into that right now. They always add like hip-hop and rap to make something seem cooler than it is, which I guess is appropriate for Red's character. It's just cliche.
We'll work together until history.
Are you guys trying to foreshadow some romantic tension here? Because people don't do that casually. I know the term is butting heads, but that's because that's what Rams do. With people, it means something a little different, if you catch my drift. One song later, they're friends. I've been seeing people upset at Chloe's wig and how it suddenly loses and gains volume, and if it wasn't pointed out to me, I never would have noticed. The plot is basically stopping Carrie from happening. Brand new students you've never seen and you assume they're in an honors class, that's just so happens to have their moms in that class also, really rolling this plot along. Turns out Bridget was a bubblegum pop kind of gal back in the good old days.
Fabulous flamingo feather cupcakes.
Low-key, high-key, this is the worst song in this movie. One of those, be positive, because being positive is great. Sure, it establishes her character, but this scene with Jasmine and Aladdin, or Gelatin, with the Lego head spin that sounds like it belongs in a toy commercial is entertaining to watch for all the wrong reasons.
If you wanna roll together, you can be a vibe.
Okay. That's my dad.
You've heard of Mr. Steal Yo Girl, now get ready for Mrs. Steal Yo Dad. Listen, I know I'm supposed to be staring at the main villains, but for some reason, the girl in blue is just serving so much that I can't stop staring at her. Like, everyone is giving 100% and she's at 110%. And I'll look at anything other than Maleficent. Oof.
Hey, give that back to
I'm
her.
sorry.
I'm Harry Styles.
Why do they always run like this? Like, if you're going to chase someone, chase them down. Don't make it all... Maleficent and Hades being cute, good touch, brownie points. I heard some people thought it was weird that Hades is going to high school, which sort of, yes, if you think of it from a modern lens, but also, like, the Greek gods are just forces of nature, so you can't really think of them as having a specific age. They are ageless because they're just, like, you gotta think of them in the same way you think of the wind. It's just, they're just a thing. They just do what they do. I mean, Zeus became a crane, and because he had a crush on another crane, like, they're just nature. Like, that's how they work. People are thinking of them wrong.
You ladies bested Uliana. I don't think anyone's ever done that before.
Oh, you ladies, my females, you guys were like so cool. Prince Charming gives me the ick. Why did they decide fuckboy energy is charming?
No thanks.
If you happen to change your mind, I'll see you there.
Well, I'll see you there. Cinderella thinks the dance is stupid. Bridget wants to go though, so they agree to go together as friends. There are no gays in Disney movies. Only Disney Channel cartoons that are cut too early.
Sweet.
That wouldn't stop the music, what?
You're saying Bridget's strong because she's nice? Even when people are awful to her. Do you know how hard that is?
Okay, yes, but there's a difference between being kind regardless and being a doormat.
BK's hangout.
Oh no, now you're going to have to join a high school host club and cross-dress to pay off your debts. Did anyone ever tell you the difference between a vase and a vase? If I'm buying it, it's a vase. If I'm selling it, it's a vase. Villain song about being a villain, honestly lackluster. I don't understand how it's so blasé, but it is. It's just them talking about how upset they are and want revenge, making the plan to prank Bridget, not going on my iPod. They're gonna give her a cupcake that'll turn her into a monster. Animal cruelty? Sorry, Red, you're canceled. Also, why did the eel sound like a pig?
Of my mom and her rules and her judgy face.
She might not be judgy at all.
Can you... is that the lace of the wig? Ooh. So Red basically comes to terms with the fact that she wants her mom to be a mom and basically admits that she's got trauma. Here's the thing that gets me. They go to Bridget to ask her about the Big Bad Cookbook that the villains are going to use to turn her into a monster. Why would they not just, I don't know, tell her about the villain kid's plan? It'd do a lot of work, just saying.
I'd rather be a goody-goody than a bad person.
You sound like your mom.
Thank you. And how'd that work out for her?
Chloe asks Cinderella if she can trust Red because she feels like she's still a villain, and what better way to explain it, the gray moral quandaries, better than through song. It's generic. Oh, not going on my iPod. The moral quandary that lasted all of a couple minutes is over, and now they can work together again. Stealing banned books from sorcerers is difficult, apparently. Chloe does the world a favor and uses her ugly shoes to stop the magic so they can get the book. And the villains steal the book they were stealing. It was booby-trapped! Now they're frozen. Magical booby traps is Wizard Tower 101. Come on, guys. Chloe tells Red that she's actually a good person, establishing their trust and friendship. Character arc complete. Their mission complete. They use the time machine to go back to see if everything worked out. Lots of people are keeping their heads because now her mom isn't a terrible human being. Everything worked out in the end. Reprise song. Disney sure does love ending their movies on a song, and Uma narrates that there's gonna be a part 2.
You didn't think that was the end of the story.
No joke, I thought they were gonna do a whole switcheroo where Cinderella was the bad guy now. They had this whole thing with, Cinderella in the past and Chloe being like, oh, I just, how do I trust someone that's evil? And like, I feel like that was a very clear sign of them, having that talk in the garden and whether or not Chloe could trust Red, that was a very clear sign that Cinderella was going to become the bad guy because, I don't know, something in the past past, we just make it to where she finally snaps. I don't know, kind of like the supposed past of Red, but instead of Red snapping, it's just Cinderella snapping, and whoa, now you gotta choose between lesser of the two evils. Or maybe Chloe doesn't exist because Cinderella and Prince Charming didn't get to go to the dance because they had to sabotage the dance to stop Red's mom from going crazy. I don't know, I thought there was gonna be something along those lines. Now, we're in the future, Cinderella's clearly fine. They both, Red and Chloe both exist, so that means they were both born. What happened? What's the catch? There's not a catch. This seems like it's just a normal movie that just stands alone on its own, and they're like, but there's gonna be a part 2. There is? Are you sure? Are you confident in that? Because it doesn't feel like you set up a part 2 at all. It feels like you had a pretty good start. I'm not gonna lie, I liked the direction they were going. I liked everything they set up. I'm not upset with the representation of Wonderland, because a lot of people screw up Wonderland. This is it's an interpretation that we've seen before, but it's a good interpretation. I was expecting the whole like, oh, we did it, we won. Oh no, something very clearly bad has happened. Combat to be continued. No, none of that. Well, I wanted that. This is worse. We just get some vague narration, and that's so unsatisfying. The whole ending was unsatisfying. Movie started strong, slowly got more cliche, and then kinda ended bad. They fumbled the ending. They tripped over the finish line. Their big victory was stealing a book. That's it. I hope part 2 makes it all feel more cohesive. I hope when part 2 comes out, we can go back and say, oh, well, really, you have to think of it as just one big movie instead of like 2 movies, and, you know, it really works better that way, and, you know, we'll all be happy. But right now, I'm not happy. Right now, this movie is not going on my iPod. I liked everything they established. There's not really big complaints I can have. It just feels incomplete. It feels half-baked. And also, I thought Uma would have a much more predominant role in this movie. Because, I don't know, I mean, like, I saw a lot of her in the trailer, in like, promotional stuff, and she just wasn't. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that makes sense. It's the rise of Red. I'm just confused. Hold on, there's some, now that I'm past, you know, the blind reaction to it, a lot of people are saying this movie completely destroys the canon, and I would like to argue otherwise. A lot of people are saying, like, why is Aladdin there? He should be homeless. Why is Hades there? He should be in Tartarus' stomach. You know, things don't align. My argument is they never canonized the order of which things happen, and so because it's upsettingly vague of how things occurred, technically they haven't broken their canon only because they haven't actually established a canonical timeline of events. The only thing I would argue is objectively bad is Rapunzel being there, because if we're going off of the canon of the movies, then an 18-year-old at a high school does not make sense. But with that being said, I don't even remember seeing Rapunzel in the movie or any reference to her, which just could be me not having as good of an eye as you guys, but also I just assumed Rapunzel wasn't there. Essentially, my argument is that this is all being blown way out of proportion of what it actually is, and I know a lot of people are arguing, yeah, it's a kid's movie, whatever, but still it's a problem, and if it is, then yes, we do have a right to have a proper, well-thought-out timeline, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. I'm not saying it's good, I'm saying this is still bad. I'm saying they have not done a good job with maintaining the timeline canon, but they get a little bit of the benefit of the doubt just because they've done such a bad job canonizing the timeline. The only thing that I think is objectionably bad is the inclusion of Uliana, which is just like, why? Huh? Sorry? No brain, not thinking of anything and all that stuff. I like the movie just fine. Adding that stuff is really what made me push over the edge and go, I can't put it on my iPod. But if I'm way off base, then go ahead and tell me in the comments how no, it's actually they've established the timeline very, very well, and this movie is just really bad Descendants fan fiction. Tell me what you thought of Rise of Red. Did you like it? Are you upset? What character is your favorite? I like Red. I like what they're doing with Red. Red's pretty cool. I just like Rebels. Go figure. If you want to see my video deep diving into Ever After High, because I'm a hardcore Ever After High fan, then go ahead and click that video. I'm probably gonna get the Ever After High locket as a tattoo, not even joking. I'm in a bit of a tattoo kick. I'm trying not to get them too fast, but I've gotten 4 in the last year, so, and that's definitely slowed down now. I can't do that anymore with the move, and I have to front the entire cost because, you know, obvious reasons. So don't forget to check out my Patreon and maybe perhaps buy a shirt. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay beautiful. Keep playing.